Hi, Kaylee. You're right. Oh, has everyone got snow today? It's very cold and freezing. I had a bit of an accident last night. I was out delivering Scentsy and I got home and I'd lost my car key because it's one of them that you don't have to plug in. I got home and I couldn't lock my car. I was like, oh no. So then I had to text all my customers and be like, oh, can you please look round your door and your drive and see if I've dropped a key? And my lovely customers just turned up with it like 5 minutes ago, but it means I'm freezing because I've been on the doorstep. So I'm sat next to the radiator trying to warm up, and I've learnt my lesson to be more careful with my key when I'm out delivering Scentsy. Hi Sam. Right, I think I'm gonna get started. So, I was asked to cover customer service, and it's a pretty huge area to cover. So I've tried to narrow it down a little bit. I've got my notes in front of me, so if I'm looking down, please don't. I'm not being rude. I've tried to narrow it down as best I can to just 5 things really that I think is an important focus, or I've found putting my focus into has helped my business. So the first thing that I want you to think about is communication. So there's 2 parts to this communication. There is communication around Scentsy news and updates and things like that. So I know at the moment, and for the last 12 months, it's been a very difficult time. It's been quite frustrating. There's a lot of products going out of stock and stuff like that. So just have a think about how you communicate that to your customers. So I think it's really important that we set expectations, realistic expectations. So being honest with your customers about the issues and what they are. You know, COVID, all the issues that it's had with manufacturing, delivering customs and warehouses, and we want to keep our staff safe. So it's kind of sharing that with them, and a lot of people, the majority of people, will be very understanding. And that's just being honest with them and just saying, look, this is what the situation is, and keeping in touch with them. If you know that if there's something that they want and it's out of stock, it's simply saying, I'll keep an eye and I'll let you know as soon as I know anything about when it's coming in. It's offering alternatives. If they're after a bar of wax and it's out of stock, is there a bar of wax that's similar? Is there something else that they like and have bought before that maybe you could ask them if that's something that they would like, or whether they want to wait? But I think it's really important that the way you communicate, you've got to be positive. If you kind of show your frustrations and you put your negative Nelly hat on, that rubs off on them. They see that, they pick up on that. So yeah, when you're communicating with your customers, particularly about difficult things that are frustrating, put your happy, positive face on. It's you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it negatively, or you can look at it positively. The negative, yes, frustration. You can't get the bits when you need them, when you want them. But the positive is the business is doing really well. Scentsy is doing amazing right now, and you're part of it, and that's really exciting. So show them that when you're communicating. The other side of communication that I wanted to look at was around how you communicate with your customers in terms of like media. So not everybody's going to be on social media. The vast majority of your customers will be, and that's probably the biggest way that we interact, whether it be Facebook or Instagram. You've probably got a VIP Facebook group, maybe a business page as well. But think about other ways, because you don't want to lose customers who maybe aren't on social media all the time. So whether that's texting or WhatsApp, actual phone calls, picking up a phone and speaking to people face to face. So I know that's a bit more difficult at the minute with everything that's going on. You're not going to the playground to pick the kids up. so you don't see the mums in the playground, you can't go around for a brew and things like that, so it is a bit more difficult at the moment. But yeah, if your customers prefer a face-to-face contact, there's nothing wrong with just having 5 minutes at the doorstep. It'll mean a lot to them. Something else that I do is I do a monthly newsletter now. I've been doing it for a couple of months, and I email that out to my customers just as another means of getting in touch with them. Often on social media you can't share like lots and lots of information in one go because people are just on flicking through and things. So an email, they expect it to be a bit longer. Sorry, I've got a tickle. And what I do with that, there's not many, but I know that some people, again, don't have access to emails or don't use their emails, or if they don't have social media and they're a bit more isolated in the way that I can communicate with them, I'll print off the newsletter and pop it in one of their orders. Another really lovely way that I communicate, and I absolutely love this one, I've got this lady, and she's a bit older, so she doesn't do texting, she doesn't do social media, Facebook, nothing like that, no internet. She actually writes me letters, so I write letters back, and it's lovely. It's so, I don't know, it's really old-fashioned, but it's just nice. So it started with I'd put in a note, a thank you note, and I'd handwritten it. I do that with all my orders. Put a handwritten note into her order, and she replied with a letter. And then the next time that she wanted to order me something, she wrote me another letter and popped some cash in the envelope with her order, and sent her husband to pop it through my door. So now I don't so much do a thank you card like I do for everyone else. I do it more like a letter. So it's kind of getting to know your customers and thinking about the way that they like to communicate and meeting their needs and being responsive to that. And that way you'll reach everybody, not just the handful that are on your Facebook page. And then that comes on to kind of knowing your customers again. So if you take the time to get to know your customers, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my throat. Sorry. So if you take the time to get to know your customers through the way they communicate, you can also get to know favourite fragrances that they have. That allows you the opportunity to make recommendations, maybe to new smells, or if a scent of the month comes out that's similar to a bar that they like, you can make recommendations for that. When you have discontinuing smells at the end of the season, it's reaching out to the customers whose favourite bars are being discontinued and saying, look, they're on the way out, we have Scentsy Club, we have Always Get My Bar, is that something that you'd like to consider? Or we often do like a 10% off before transition anyway, so another option is for them to kind of bulk stock up if they're not wanting to Scentsy Club. But I would always suggest Scentsy Club as a first option, because Always Get My Bar's so awesome. Also means that if there's a new product comes out with that smell, so like the fragrance flower that's come out with watermelon tangerine, so that's one of my favourite smells, and I know a couple of my customers absolutely love it, so I've popped them an individual message saying, you love watermelon tangerine, did you know it's come out in a fragrance flower, and got a sale through that. You can kind of direct towards those people what you're advertising, and it's really good for bring back my bar and returning smells that come back in with the season. It just lets your customers know as well that you care enough to know that. If I go into Asda, they don't know what I like to buy, so it's a lot more personal, because I can get in touch with them and say, I know you really like this, do you want to try this? This is quite similar. And also getting to know them on a personal level. So that's getting to know their lives. So whether they've got kids, their kids' ages, that opens up an opportunity for you to focus sales around the buddy clips and the buddies, those kinds of things. If they love cleaning, if they're a Hinch Army, you can kind of focus more cleaning products around them. Pets, if they've got pets, again, then you can get the pet product stuff aimed at them. But you need to know those areas of their lives. You need to know what they're into to be able to focus that. Another good example of like knowing your customer, if you know something that they love decor wise, and a warmer comes out. So I have a lady that likes she likes brass effect stuff. She's got loads of it in her home. So I got in touch with her around when Glimmer and Glow came out, and she's actually bought 3 of those now. So she's got 2 for herself and bought 1 as a gift to her daughter. And that was purely because I messaged her to say, oh my god, have you seen this? You'll love it. And building that relationship with people as well, and getting to know them and letting them get to know you a little bit, it creates that loyalty. A lot of my customers now, I would actually class them as friends. I'm quite close to some of them, and that's one of the perks, I suppose, of being part of Scentsy, is that you get to meet new people and make new friends, and that creates a loyalty. So they're more likely to come back and buy from you because they know you. It's actually easier to keep a customer than it is to find a new one. So you need to be thinking about all the customers that you already have and working really hard to keep them, and keep them purchasing with you. There's so many Scentsy consultants around at the moment. They've probably got 2, 3, 4 different consultants popping up in their Facebook feed. You want them to come to you, and if they know you and feel like they get a good customer service from you, they'll keep coming back. You need to think about what makes you stand out. So providing that extra personal touch, I find, just bridges that gap and keeps you close to them and in the forefront of their mind. So if we go on to packaging orders. So the way I kind of think about packaging orders is people have bought themselves or someone else a warmer and some wax, and it's a treat, and I want them to feel like it's a treat. So I like to wrap my orders up so they're like gifts almost, because I like that excitement. I like turning up at the door with a Scentsy order and seeing the customer open the door and kind of go, because they can't wait to open it. And I've had comments from my customers, really good feedback about they love the packaging, they love the way that it looks, they love that they get to open it, and it has that kind of wow. I like it to have that wow when people open the door and see it. It's an experience they've bought from you. So I love wrapping and prettying stuff up, and I've had to learn a couple of things along the way because I love it so much. I would do it for hours and hours and hours. Unfortunately, it's not the most time efficient and cost effective thing to do if you spend hours and hours and hours and hours wrapping and prettying. So I've had to pull it back a little bit. I was actually, my sponsor pulled me once, Christy, because I was double wrapping things. So I was wrapping orders in tissue paper and then wrapping them in cellophane, and she's like, "You're taking too much time, that's too much." And although that was kind of when I was a newbie and back at the start, your orders are lower usually, so it's okay then when you've kind of got an active order, maybe 200 PRV, but you guys are aiming for lead, and that's when you want to be paid at title, and that's when you want to be kind of pulling in 500 PRV a month, so that's kind of double that. So if you think about the quantity and size of your order and things that you've got to wrap, it's going to take you double the time. So you've got to do something that's time efficient, cost effective. You don't want it to cost you the bank, you don't want to break the bank with it, sorry. You can only do what you can afford to do, but it doesn't have to be costly to make it look pretty. So I've got some bits, I wrapped some bits. So I know when you start, you get some Scentsy bags, okay? So Can you see that? So that's just using the Scentsy bags that you get in your full kit. Oh, can't move it. Mini warmer. And all I've done is put a bit of curling ribbon on it, and if you can see that inside, if anyone gets a whiff box, all I've done is I've kept all the purple papery bits out of the whiff box, and I call that free packaging because you can reuse it and recycle. So that, mega cheap, but it still looks prettier than if I had it in like a scrumpled up Asda bag. And all it's cost me is the ribbon. That's all it's cost me, the ribbon, because I got the bags in my kit and I got the paper in my whiff box. So that's one option. Another option, and I've got a bit of a confession to make here, Christy. So I've heard lots of consultants recycling the brown paper that you get your parcels, your deliveries in, all that massive. Use it, and customers will love it. Cost effective, it's recycling, it's free wrapping that you're getting. So I had to go, and I've wrapped a mini warmer and a bar of wax in there. And it is just the brown paper that you get. I can't move it in the right way. It's just the brown paper that you get in your deliveries with a bit of string. That's all it is, and a thank you sticker. But it looks quite pretty. Now my confession is, this was not time efficient for me. This took me 40 minutes to wrap after I'd ironed the paper. I hang my head in shame. I'm a bit OCD, and the paper was a bit crinkly for me. It wasn't actually that bad, but I couldn't cope. So I ironed the paper. So I've learned that this method's not for me. But you can make it look really pretty, and your customers will appreciate your recycling. I used to do cellophane and ribbons, and I haven't got anything with me because I don't do it anymore. Only gift wrapping, rare occasion. So I used to do that. I know there's a lot of people that can't get away with cellophane, and it's a bit like cling film. It's a bit like the devil's work. It's awful to work with sometimes. But some people can get away with it. So that was fairly cheap, but like before, when I was getting smaller orders, more 200 PRV orders, that was manageable. I got just before Christmas, I think it was November, I got a 1,700 PRV order, and a cling film wrapped all of it, and it took me days, and it took the love out of it for me. Like, I really like wrapping, but it was too much. It was really overwhelming. So because I aim to stay high PRV, because that's what I want, I've changed slightly, and I've gone with a paper bag. So all I've done there is a paper bag and a bit of tissue paper. Those thank you cards I've always put in a thank you sticker, but that's it. It's really simple. It still looks pretty, kind of pretty. I've used the orange paper, like Jenny was saying the other day around branding. So hers is green, mine's orange, ginger hair and sun-kissed and stuff. So I like to use orange. So that's a bit of branding, but that's cost effective. It's really quick as well. It's so quick. It's a game changer. I'm gonna put links. I'm gonna put a post up after this and put all the links in for where I've bought stuff, just in case anybody wanted any of that information. But you need to find a way that suits you. You can't compare yourself to other consultants. The way you've kind of got to think about it is whether you want your business to be a business or whether you want it to be a hobby. So if you want it to be a business, you want to be investing like a small percentage of your Scentsy money back into it. So that could be buying things like your brown paper bags and your tissue paper. It could be buying the sweets that go in. I always put sweets inside. I've always done that. Again, that comes down to branding, like Jenny said. I like that because I get excited mums at the door picking up their orders, and I get excited children hanging around their ankles because they want the sweets out the bag, and that's what they know me for. The Scentsy lady with the sweets. So yeah, you kind of want to keep a little bit of money to one side and be putting it back into your business to buy these things, but don't spend more than you can afford. Orville always says that your family money is not to be spent on Scentsy. Your Scentsy money is to be spent on your family. I've got that the right way around. But yeah, it's good to invest a little bit back in, and you cannot keep all your receipts, because when you do tax return and stuff, you can claim for all that as well. So always keep your receipts. Um, other things. Other things. Let me just check. Other things that I pop in with my orders. So I've got my thank you sticker, I've got my thank you card. I always write a personal message on my thank you cards, and that gives it that personal touch. I'll always put a sample pack in. So that's just one of the holographic things with the label. There's a wax sample in there, and there's some washing liquid sample that I got out of a whiff box. So I get a whiff box every month, and usually my samples I put back into my customers. And I've just popped a little bit of confetti in there. I've wanted confetti for a while, and I wasn't sure where to get it. And I went into B&M yesterday, and I had confetti balloons. And you literally got like a bag. Oh, I can't do the camera. A bag of confetti. There's absolutely loads in there, and a couple of balloons for £1.99. So I have blown up the balloons and given them to my child to play with. And I've got lots of confetti. But I know Christy had a link for slightly bigger confetti as well. But Christy, if you can pop that in the comments as well when I put the post up, that'd be really good. So yeah, I always put in order. There's samples, thank you card. There's sweeties. I'll also put in a. I don't know if you can see that. That's my little. Why can't I do this camera? That's my little thing that I pop in. So it's got my QR code on the top for Linktree. It asks about snap and share. So try to encourage them to take a photo of their product, put it on social media, and tag me in it. It's got my social media handles at the bottom. It asks them to join my VIP customer group. If they're not in that, they just have to scan the code. And it just says, I hope you enjoy your new products. If you've got any issues, don't hesitate to get in touch. You can either follow me on social media by scanning the code, or this is my phone number, give me a text or a call. So those go in all my orders. I used to do about 4 or 5 different pieces of paper, with one with a QR code on for snap and share, and one for a thing about referrals. I've got my referral scheme on there as well, because we're not allowed to advertise those publicly. So I always put one in my order to my customer, and that just says refer a friend and get 10% off when they place their first order. So we're always wanting to be looking for new customers. So I pop one of those in. If they've not had a catalogue, then I put a catalogue in. If they have had a catalogue and it's been a little while, I'll put product sheet in. And I put like a little label. I haven't got one with me now. I'll put that on as well. I've got a little label that I attach to the product sheet and the catalogue that just says, once you finish with me, don't throw me away, please pass me on to somebody else for them to have a look at. And I make sure in my orders it's got my contact details stuck on everything. I haven't got anything to hand. But yeah, those are just the thank you cards that I use. So they're off the Workstation Success Store. I'll put a link on for those. I think they're £5 for 100, I think. And my customers, again, I've had really good feedback about them. I've had people tell me they keep them, like everyone I've sent them. So yeah, so get good feedback for them, and it's just a personal touch. People appreciate it. And also the idea around this, about it being an experience and them enjoying it. If they have a good experience with you, and good customer service, they're more likely to refer you to other people, to refer you to their friends. Another benefit that I've found from having pretty orders wrapped up and stuff is my customers like to take a photo of them when they've received them, and post them on their social media, because they look pretty and they're like, yay, look what's here. So that's another way that can kind of work in your favour. I'm going to go on to follow-ups. I'm not going to go into follow-up systems in great detail, um, but you should always be following up with your customers. As I say, the fortune is in the follow-up. So, when your customer buys, it's really important to remember that is not where the service stops. It doesn't end there. So, after a couple of days, I check in with my customers. This is my follow-up. So, I'll check in with them and I'll drop them a text or a message, ask them how they're getting on. I ask them how they like the samples, or I should have said, always keep a track of what samples you provide people so you can follow up. If you're not following up your samples, you're throwing money away. Um, so when I do my follow-ups, I'll ask if they're alright with the product, they've set up their warmer okay, or I asked if they've had any issues. I ask what they think of the fragrances. I ask what they think of the samples. Um, and it's not like a pushy like buy from me. Buy from me. It's just checking in to see if they need anything else. It's my customer service. So people appreciate that. I've had customers message back and say, "Oh, I didn't want to say, but when I've put the mini warmer together, I didn't know what to do with the washers, and it's wobbly, and like they weren't going to say otherwise unless I reached out to them, and then I've just got it. It's been as simple as I've gone around and sorted it out for them, and they're really grateful for that. So yeah, there's you need to have a system in place so that you can keep track of what you're doing. I don't know if any of you have heard of Amy. I don't know how they say it. It's an app that we can use, and you actually get 30 days free trial through your workstation. If you go into the workstation and account, you can access a 30-day free trial. So it's linked to your workstation. So if you use that app, all your orders come through onto your phone. You can set up reminders for follow-ups. So after a certain amount of time, it'll ping up and say, Joe ordered 3 days ago. Have you sent him a follow-up message? Joe ordered, if you do, and then 2 months later, and say, you haven't spoken to Joe for a while. Do you want to send him a message and see how he's getting on? And you can actually write in, make your own templates of messages that you want to send, which are really useful. And it'll send it directly from the app by email or text message, all from the app. It's really good. One of the links I'm going to share after this is for using AMI or Amy. There's a little training video from SFR last year about that. So that's a follow-up system that you can use. Other systems are the binder system. So some people just use paper and a file and a plastic wallet. And they have a plastic wallet for the contact frequency, and they just move the order forms through. So people do 123 or 222 or 333. So that's 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months for when you're going to contact them. And it just moves into each wallet is either the day, the week, or the month that you're going to contact them. So once you've done it, you move the order form back a pocket to keep track of where you're at. I'm making it sound really complicated, but it's not. And again, I've got a couple of links for follow-up training from SFR that you can watch, so you can hear it better from someone else, because I'm not good explaining follow-ups. But it's really important to follow up, because if you're not checking in with your customer to see if they need something, and somebody else is, another Scentsy consultant is, they're going to go with them. It's not their responsibility to remember that they have to buy from us. So it's up to us to kind of anticipate when they might be running out of wax, or, and just getting in touch saying, hey, I'm putting an order in, is there anything that you want me to add? It doesn't have to be pushy or anything like that. And the other kind of side to follow up is doing it more informally as well. And that can be, when you get up in the morning, you're scrolling through Facebook, liking people's posts, commenting, sending them messages about stuff that isn't Scentsy related. It's about building that relationship. People aren't going to be keen if you're that person that just messages at the end of the month saying, I'm putting an order in, what do you want, what would you like to put in, what do you want to order. If that's the only contact you're having with people, you're not doing it right. you're going to put them off. They're going to feel like you're being pushy and that's all you're after. You want to build a relationship with people, and kind of having regular contact with them that's not Scentsy related just keeps you in the forefront of their mind. Um, and it'll make them appreciate you. It makes it easier. It's not a pushy sales pitch, and we don't sell Scentsy, we share it. Um, so yeah, just try and remember you've got kind of your formal follow-up system that you want in place, but you've also got your informal that you want to be keeping on top of to build those relationships. The last point, I'm conscious that we're at 30 minutes and it shouldn't have taken this long. The last point that I'm going to cover is thank you, and it's showing gratitude to your customers. They have chosen to buy with you. They've chosen you to spend their money with, and they've chosen to be loyal to you. Like I've said before, other Scentsy consultants will pop up in their feeds, and if they've chosen you, you need to kind of think about what makes you stand out. And if you're thanking them, even if it's a packet of sweets in their order, even if it's a handwritten note, it can make the difference between you and Kelly down the road. I know that I've had customers say to me, she's actually a consultant now, Pam, I don't think she's on at the minute. She said to me she's had conversations with her friends who have a different consultant, and they've compared what they get in their orders. So she's compared her sweets and her samples. So the customers talk, and they all know somebody that sells it or somebody else that buys off somebody else. So, it's worth thinking about investing a little bit. When they've spent money with you, you get your 20% or your 25% commission. Can you put a little bit more of that back into them? Just with your samples even. Doesn't have to be a lot. Samples, it can be a scent of the month, like a free scent of the month sample. It can be sweets. It can be, I'm trying to think what else. Your VIP customer groups. I play games in mine. I'm sure you all play games in your customer groups, and I'll give away a free bar of wax or whatever, and some scent circles, or every now and again, not always. And I only ever do it out of my, like your host rewards, because I've earned them, so I've not actually paid for them, but I give that back to my customers because they're loyal to me. And it's remembering Christy did Scentsy Club, and she showed those brilliant boxes that she did, the thank you boxes. They're awesome, as a way of thanking your customers for being a Scentsy Clubber. But it's also your PWS orders. Don't forget about them. So when you get that email that pops up and says you've had a PWS order, it's usually someone you don't know personally, because they would have just come to you themselves. Reach out to them. You'll get their email address, you'll get their phone number, and you'll get their address. I always send a thank you card in the post. I thank them for ordering with me. I pop in a catalogue. I pop in one of those again because I want them to connect with me. I want them in my VIP customer group so that I can get to know them and build a relationship, and so that they'll keep ordering with me. I will send a scent circle usually, kind of to cover the £6 delivery. If they've paid the £6 for delivery, I'll give back a scent circle. And pop some sweets in, catalogue, flyer with my contact number on, and a handwritten note again, a thank you card saying thank you for your business, I really appreciate it. And it's little things like that that they'll remember. Those little personal touches are the things that they will remember about you, and they're the reason that they will come back to you. I think I've covered everything. I hope I've covered everything. Yeah. So I hope you found it helpful, anything of it. Like the other girls have said, don't take on too much because you'll overwhelm yourself and you'll put yourself off. I've done Leap to Lead twice. You might notice that I'm doing it again. Like I keep commenting and putting my stuff on because I always think there's something that you can learn. Always. It doesn't matter what level you get to. You can learn something from somebody. So I'm a star consultant now. I should have said this bit at the start. Um, so I started in 2018 in the August. I've done 2 lead to leads, and I've gone through periods where I've been like, this isn't working, nobody wants to buy from me, I can't recruit anybody, and it's tough, but you've got to keep at it, you've got to be consistent. It's that word again, consistency. I got promoted to lead in June. I've had a couple of consultants join up under me before that, but who weren't really committed to doing it. They wanted the freebies, but they didn't want to do the work. So in June I got my first consultant who was in the right place and that wanted it, and it kind of blew up from then. I ended up with, I think I've got a team of 8 now. So I got lead in June and then got star in November. So I had a really quick progression up to the next level. But like I said, there's always something you can learn. So yeah, don't let it get you down if you feel like you can't get a recruit and it's not going to happen. It will happen. Just put the effort in and you'll get there. Cool. So I'm gonna post another post up in the group with some links to the AMI training, the follow up training on the workstation. There's a link to get AMI free for 30 days through your workstation, and links to like bits that I've used in my packaging and things like that. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below, and I'll keep checking it over the rest of the day just to see if anyone's put anything on. If you're watching this on replay, please hashtag replay so that we can kind of work out who we've reached and when. And thank you for watching. See you all later and good luck. Bye.